So moment to moment awareness is mindfulness. Staying in the present moment is mindfulness. It sounds simple, it is simple, but you need to learn the techniques. You need to learn those exercises. And I'm inviting you to join this online course and benefit for a peaceful life. Namaste, this is Aparna and you're very welcome on this show which we call My Mind, My Friend. And last year we brought you a few experts who had shown you the way to live a happy, healthy life in a healthy body and healthy mind. And today we have a very special guest in the studio who has actually opened a brand new yoga studio. So we are really excited to know all about it. So please welcome Christine Dunworth. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you so much, Aparna. It's lovely to see you.
And same here. It's always a pleasure to get connected with you. And as they say that according to yoga aphorism, that 𝙤𝙪𝙙𝙑𝙤𝙑 𝑛āmāsannah, success is speedy for the extremely energetic. And when I talk about energy, I think about you. So your energy is highly contagious. So tell us a little bit about where are you joining us from?
So I'm here in the studio. I know there's a little bit of an echo. I think it's because it's empty at the moment. But the studio is here in Kilcock, County Kildare. So it's the north of Kildare. And it's in a football club. So we're surrounded by football pitches. We've got a running track right beside us. We've got a health centre. A community centre is currently being built and a new playground. So it's a real hive of activity where we are. And there's a walking and a running track as well around the area. So people come here for leisure, for to take exercise and for mindfulness too.
Yes, so this is a place for fitness, which is already kind of, it has that kind of energy where people who are motivated to be fit, they come.
Yes.
So, and your name for the studio, is it Yogra Yoga?
Yes, it's yoga. So 𝙭, is the Irish word for love. So I really love yoga and I love Irish and the Irish language. So when I was picking a name for the studio in the very beginning, I chose this name. I just kind of made it up myself really, but I really liked the sound of it and now it's just stuck and it's the brand now.
Yes, and I love the name Yogra Yoga.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
So your studio is in Kilcock in County Kildare in Ireland. Are you officially
Yes.
open now?
Tonight. And actually, I just taught a class here this morning, but it was a one-to-one, a personal class. But tonight I will be inviting a group for meditation at 7 p.m. They're coming in. And then I will have men's only yoga at 8:15. So this is something that the men of Kilcock have specifically asked for. They're a little bit shy and they're not sure about yoga. So they want a class just for themselves. So I have agreed to do that for them. So let's hope that as time goes on, they'll find out what yoga really is, that they don't need to be in a particular men's class. Everyone can go together. So they're coming to me this evening. So both classes are busy and I really look forward to welcoming everybody.
I'm really excited to hear about men's only yoga class because I feel somewhere there is a little bit imbalance in the energy. Because every yoga class that I go to, yoga teacher training, there was no man in the class. So I feel like, but when you go and look at the teachers, yeah, there are many yoga teachers who are men, but for some reason, there are not that many men who are coming to the yoga studio. So good luck with this evening class for only men. And
Thank you.
we would love to know how did they get on or how did it go. Have you done
Yeah.
yoga before for men?
Yes. So about 5 years ago, a small group of men approached me. They were playing hurling, an Irish sport with a stick, and they wanted to come to yoga for the stretching qualities. So they weren't really informed so much about the mindful aspect of it. So I said, that's no problem, I'll do that. And they started to come to me. So they signed up for about 6 weeks, and there was 10 of them, and they stayed for 6 months. But then what happened was they just dispersed into the other classes. So some of them were saying, I want a stronger practice, maybe I'll go to Vinyasa Flow or Ashtanga. Others wanted a more restorative practice, so then they started to go to restorative or yin. And others just, the time didn't suit them, so they were saying, I'll come on Wednesday instead of Monday, or whatever it might have been. And eventually the men were still practicing, but they were integrated into the other classes, so it was totally fine.
And Christine, some people may still be a little bit kind of hesitant to come into in-person yoga class. So how many people you can fit in at the same time in your yoga studio?
So yes, I agree with you about people being hesitant, and I just want to check, Aparna, am I frozen?
No.
No, good, okay, just seemed frozen on this end. Yeah, so in the beginning, when I came down here just at Christmas time, I was measuring out, to see who will fit here, how many, where will I teach from. When you go to a new yoga space as a teacher, sometimes you'll teach from one end of the room and then the other, and you'll find a place in the room that works for you and for your teaching. And like that, I was laying the mats out, trying to figure out how many people will I have at the class. And I settled on the number 10 to begin with, because I'm able to leave a lot of space between the mats right now. So we're going to stay with 10 pupils for the foreseeable future, for the next at least month, if not more, just as we transition back into our normal, way of living. And at the same time, no one is too close to each other. But I think when it comes to the summer, we've got the windows and doors open, and it's, people are going to be a little bit more relaxed, that I think then we can fit probably 18 people. So yeah, that would be lovely energy.
A lot of measures to make sure that people can feel safe when they come in. And would it be possible to get a little glimpse of your yoga studio and see how it looks?
Of course, bear with me one moment. I'm going to, my screen has frozen for some reason, so I'm just going to stand up and see if I can change the camera angle. It's not allowing me to, so I'm just going to turn it around like this. Can you see? Are you able to see, Aparna? I think I've lost contact. Have I? Oh dear.
No, it's fine. Yeah, we could see it. And
oh, it's okay. Sorry, I think the internet is patchy down here, and it's a metal building, so the walls are quite tough. So the internet sometimes can be patchy. And when I'm teaching online from down here, I actually put the phone outside so that I get a better signal. So that works really well. Yeah, so you can see here the way the mats are laid out. It's very spacious. I've just got 8 mats there, and as I said, I had a private client earlier on, so he was right here. And then over here, we have got all of the props, all of the things that people can use during their practice. And then we've got a bathroom, and it's a mess now, but I have more furniture coming. And I don't know if you can see the artwork.
I can, yes.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of artwork here by an Irish artist called 𝘾𝙪𝙑. So I have a lot of her art displayed here in the studio. And I have lots of yoga teachers looking to buy the artwork as well. So it's lovely. But I like to have them here in the studio displayed.
Yes. And you had a studio before, Christine. So was it closed down during pandemic, or what happened?
Yes, so it was on the 12th of March 2020, the day the big announcement was made that we would have to close for 2 weeks. And I remember that night closing the door, and I had a real sadness in my heart that I had to close for 2 weeks, because I was thinking, oh, I'll miss my students and I love being at work. And then the 2 weeks passed and we were still closed. And as you know, we're only coming out of it now. So it turned out that I was unable to pay the rent. So I ended up closing that physical studio, but I moved online and I was teaching online for the entire pandemic. I was teaching yoga classes, restorative workshops, yoga workshops. I was working on a teacher training. So I did a lot of work online during the pandemic. And still now I have online classes as well. So it's great to have the option to do one or the other, or both.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's good that we can adapt. At least we still had the option to teach online rather than, complete. And was it tough on you? How did you find pandemic? How did you cope?
In the beginning, I think it was, a little overwhelming, because we hadn't experienced anything like that. And it was quite stressful to move to the online teaching, because I didn't really have the knowledge of the technology at that stage. But as I got to grips with it and I got more comfortable with the technology, it was so easy. So I would just, finish my dinner, clean up, go upstairs, switch on my laptop, teach my classes, and then come down and go to bed. So there was obviously no traveling, there was no paying rent for a studio. It was absolutely lovely, really. But I'm really glad to be back to in-person. There's a different energy when you're in person to when you're online. And it's not to take away one being better than the other, they're just different. And I really enjoy being in person, but also having that option. Like if somebody this week is sick and they can't come, I've got the laptop there and they can still do their class at home. And I can stream it here from the studio at the moment. So it's just a miracle that we're able to do that. It's great.
Yeah. So is there an option that people could be doing in-person class, and at the same time there could be people who might be attending an online class? Is it?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I have my laptop right in front of my mat, and I've got a camera on a little tripod, and it's only looking at me. It can't see anybody in the background. So the students who are here at class, they can't see the people at home, and the people at home can't see the students here. Only I can see both groups and I can interact with both groups. It works really, really well, because it means I can have my 10 people here, but I could also have 10 people online. And it is a bit of a skill. It's tricky to get used to being able to interact with two groups of people that are separate, but it works really well. It's fantastic.
Yes, yes. And tell us a little bit about yourself, because you are always updating yourself, upskilling, always doing some training. How did you find time, and how do you manage your time, and the will and the motivation to study more?
Yeah, it's funny, as a child growing up, I was not interested in education. And even when I was, going to school, I would never do my homework. I never wanted to learn anything from a book. I really wasn't interested. But when I found yoga and I found something that I was really passionate about, it was as if the spark was lit inside me for the learning. And the fire is just, it's burning now all of the time, and it needs to be fed with more knowledge. So I did my 200-hour teacher training with our teacher, 𝘾𝙁𝙑 𝙭. She's an amazing person, and she was my yoga teacher for a good few years before that. So I did the training with her in 2016, and then I went on and I started to study with Paula's teacher. 𝙤𝙤𝙑 is her name, and I went to Spain several times and completed another 300 hours of training there. And I also had the interest in pregnancy yoga, like yourself. I love to facilitate women's workshops and work with women, so I had done that. And then I think what happens with every yoga teacher is you start to find your way, and you find what you really enjoy and what you're really passionate about, and you find your niche, so to speak. And I was doing a lot of workshops, a lot of different trainings on different things. And really, I think that at the moment, I love working in a very personal sense with people one-to-one. I like small groups, and I like people who have got things going on in their bodies. So I've had a few injuries myself over the years, and I love to work with people who are recovering from illness and injury. So I'm now currently training to be a yoga therapist. So I'm studying with Yoga Therapy Ireland with 𝘾𝙤𝙪, and it's really, really good. It's really interesting. I'm about halfway through that course at the moment, and I'm excited about delivering yoga as a therapy to small groups and to individuals, and to be able to give people the skills to help them to, I suppose, to help them through whatever it is they're going through at that point. So it could be illness, injury, even something like insomnia, or a lot of the time grief, anything like that. Yoga can be an amazing therapy. So that's where the direction I'm headed in at the moment. And yeah, I have a real love for anatomy as well. So I'm also studying with the Open College to do more anatomy and physiology. So,
and you have been teaching in the yoga teacher training as well.
Yes, so I haven't been on the yoga teacher training now for a few months. So that's moved completely online, but I would hope to, eventually be able to write my own yoga teacher training and deliver it to whoever was interested in becoming a yoga teacher. But in terms of the time management that you asked about, I just find at the beginning of the week, I write everything down. I have a notebook with me and I write everything down every day. And then I tick the things off as I'm doing them. And then whatever doesn't get done, that's okay. It moves to the next day, and I try to get it done the next day. And I am a mother of 3 children. I also have another job where I mind my niece and my nephew. So that's another string to my bow, or another task, that I do every week. And I just think that if you can find the balance between family and work, it's a really happy balance to have. And I hope I found that, and then throw the study in on top of that.
I love the mention of balance, because I feel everything is like, not only yoga is the balance, but the whole life is balance. And when you were talking about your to-do list, I was smiling because look, my this post-it, and I keep writing what to be done on that day and keep crossing. So yeah, I think this works really well because it's in front of you and you know that you have achieved that day's goal. So it keeps you focused. That definitely works for me also.
Yeah, and I find it stops you going into overwhelm, because sometimes if we do have a lot on our plate, that we can be thinking about it all the time, but there's no action. And I even find the action of writing down, it could be something as simple as, I need to, I don't know, cook the dinner. Even just to write it down and then be able to tick it off. You can see as the day goes on that you're achieving, whatever you need to achieve. And to be able to go at the end of the day, okay, I didn't get 3 things done on the list, or sometimes it's 10 things. That's okay. Let's move them to tomorrow. It's a new day. It's a fresh day. We can do it then. Unless something's urgent and it has to be done, like, I suppose, a task that needs to be done there and then, that needs to go up to the top of the list. But not allowing the overwhelm to take over, and being able to stop, look down at it and go, it's not that big of a deal, and then take it from there, hope for the best.
And Christine, how people can book for your yoga classes, in person or online?
So they can book at my website. It's yograyoga.ie, yograyoga.ie. And they just go to the booking page and they can book in. And the online classes are Tuesday nights and Thursday nights. So, they can either be in person for them, or they can come to the online class.
Okay. Yeah, I've put the name in the chat box. So if
anyone's
watching later on and they're wondering how it is spelled, so I have written Yogra Yoga website. So you can find if you Google Christine Dunworth, or if you Google Yogra Yoga, she will definitely come up in her poses of yoga, certainly. And Christine, would you like to say any final words of wisdom for people who are practicing yoga or is struggling, because I think this pandemic has affected everyone in one or the other way, either physical or mental or both. And people are like, it might probably take long time for people to feel somewhat, back to normalcy in their own bodies and mind. So
Yeah.
how would you give some kind of hope to these people who want to
So
live a healthy life?
yeah, so I would say take it slow. You don't have to, if you had a strong asana practice before the pandemic, you don't have to dive right back into that now. It could be something like 10 minutes of gentle joint movement or meditation per day. It could even be something like just being more mindful, as in going for a walk and looking around and taking in your surroundings. It doesn't have to be this yoga practice that you see on Instagram or you see on Facebook or whatever. It can be what suits you in that moment, and to let go of expectation as well, to just take every day as it comes and accept whatever part of the journey that you're on. And as well, to know that this learning process, or even this journey that we're all on, it's never going to be linear. It can go up and down, it can go side to side, sometimes it goes backwards and then comes forwards. And to just accept wherever it is and sit with it and know that that's okay. And there's no right or wrong when it comes to a yoga practice. It's whatever's right for you, then that's the right practice.
That's a wonderful advice. So take it slow, be mindful, and accept where you are, and try
Yes.
not to compete with others, I would say.
Yeah, or with yourself.
Yeah, or with yourself, absolutely. Not to be comparing, I was able to do this, but I can't do that now. So,
Yeah.
Christine, you've also been writing some articles in the magazine. Um,
Yes.
Tell us a
I'm
little bit about
fancy
that.
I'm fancying myself as a little bit of a journalist. So I was asked during the summertime to write an article for Stellar magazine. I don't have that with me now, but that was an online publication, and I wrote in that about yoga practice and about accessible yoga. So how we can use the chair for yoga, how we can use bolsters and blocks and cushions, and about how yoga is available to everybody, even if they can't physically do an asana practice. They can still access other elements of the practice, of the other 8 limbs of yoga, not so much to be focused on asana practice. And then, so that was that article. And then I brought along the magazine. Hope you can see it.
Yoga
So this
therapy.
is a magazine that's published by Yoga Therapy Ireland. And this is the group of people that I'm studying with at the moment, for the yoga, to be a yoga therapist. And I wrote in this magazine about being injured and how to take care of yourself in your yoga practice if you have an injury. So I'll just open it on that page.
Yes.
So that's it
Taking
there.
care of yourself.
And yeah, so I was talking about the different ways how you can explore how injured students and teachers can participate fully in their yoga practice. And I go into that again about, a lot of mindfulness. You'll know this exactly, Aparna. It's so important to be mindful in your practice, first of all, to prevent injury, but secondly, when you're recovering from injury. And then about getting back on the mat, listening to your body, and of course, my favorite thing, using props, loads and loads of props. So yeah, so that's the writing that I've been doing. Hopefully I'll write some more over the next while. I have a blog as well on my website. If anyone's interested, they could have a look there too, to read more of my contributions.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Christine, and we wish you really all the best. And I will conclude today's talk by saying that, if we all build resilience, we can do what we are capable of doing that we don't even know. So sometimes everything seems so difficult, so impossible. So there is this acronym called ABLE, ABLE. So A, take your time and assess the situation. And B, believe in yourself. And
Yeah.
L is learn quickly. because you don't have enormous time, so learn quickly. And E stands for establish and execute your goals. So you are able, that's what I can say for everyone who is listening or watching us, that you are able. We are able, and we are all capable of doing so much more than what we can ever imagine. So thank you, Christine. And we wish, and I am personally looking forward to come and see your yoga studio, and hopefully that will happen soon. And
Yes, you're more than welcome. I'd love to see you.
yes, and please tune in to our Wednesday. We are bringing Paula Mitten for yoga teacher training. So please join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m., where Paula Mitten will talk about yoga teacher training that she facilitates. So if you are an yoga aspirant and you want to be a teacher, then there is one lady to talk to from Durga Yoga Studio. That is Paula Mitten, our favorite.
She's
So,
amazing.
namaste.
Namaste.